Merry Christmas, everybody. I know it's probably been a while since I have released anything. Actually, probably about 2 weeks or about a week, something like that. But just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas for one. And then also, just kind of discuss Christmas. And I wanted to sit down and kind of do a legit video on it, but COVID and time and all those good things. So I figure it'd probably just be easier to walk and talk. But, during this time of Christmas and COVID, the year 2020, it brings a lot of things to the forefront. It brings a lot of things to, it brings things that it causes us to think of things, to consider things in regards to what really matters. COVID, as we know, at least in our nation, in America, it's bringing a lot of issues up. It's brought up a lot of issues. It's brought up a lot of hurt. It's brought up a lot of loss. And during this Christmas season, for years, whether we agree or disagree, for years, many people, Christians in particular, under previous guidance, were not able to say Merry Christmas, and it was only Happy Holidays. And that was under the direction of not offending people. But in a pluralistic society, ideally, under a ideal pluralistic society, people should be able to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And I wonder, why can't a person say Merry Christmas? Why can't a person say Happy Holidays? I know for me as a Christian, through God's ambassador Paul, or who we know as Apostle Paul for the church, we have a teaching from him that says, do not be a cause of offense for the church. Don't be a cause of offense for Jews, and don't be a cause of offense for those who are outside of both of those groups. And for me, I don't see an issue with telling somebody Happy Holidays. If they have an issue with Merry Christmas, well, Happy Holidays to you. But then again, I would ask the question, why do we have an issue with Merry Christmas? Why is that such an issue? For somebody to be able to say Merry Christmas without us getting offended. And then to consider another question is, what is Christmas really about? Is it about all the boxes of presents under a tree? Is it about a man in a red suit with a white beard and a hat who rides on a sleigh that's pulled by these reindeer that can fly? Santa Claus, or good old Saint Nick, and all these different cultural figures that we associate with Santa Claus and these different stories. And or what about Jesus Christ? What about Jesus Christ? Because that's where Christmas comes from, the idea, or the traditional idea of Christmas. That's where it comes from. And so when during this time where we're still dealing with the outcome of the election, we're still dealing with whether it was fraud or whether whatever, it was legit. The significance of Christmas for me stands out all the more so. And here's why. We celebrate the birth for Christians, and in the long run will be significant for Jews and for everybody in the long run, as we celebrate the birthday of Jesus Christ. And we have to know the backstory of Jesus Christ. I have a a video I made called "Who is Jesus Christ?" and I'll link it in the cards above and try to put it in the description as well. And trying to make that concise is that there was promises made by our Creator that said He was going to restore the world back to the perfect conditions in which He created it. And when He did that, when that time comes, He is going to put a perfect person in leadership in order to guide the world. Now, this is where the comparing and contrasting comes in, because here in America, we are looking to Biden, we are looking to Donald Trump, and both of those men and all the people in their cabinet are flawed, just like you and just like this guy right here on camera. They're flawed just like us. And so what do you get from flawed people? You get a flawed world, you get a flawed government, you get a flawed society, you get favoritism on either side, whether you're conservative or liberal or Democrat or Republican. You have this flawed system. But when you get to know Jesus Christ both supernaturally as well as biblically, when you look at His example, you see how He treated people. You see how He treated those who thought they were religiously okay and religiously superior, and you get to see human perfection, but you also get to see the individual who will be over the world, who will lead, who will have such an administration and such a cabinet of members that they have lived lives that our Creator has purified, that has transformed, and they know how to love people that have differing views. They know how to love people that have that treat them wrong. They bless those that curse them. They pray for those that despitefully use and abuse them. And so during this time of Christmas, for me, and this should be all Christians, and I'm sure many, if not all, is we celebrate the birth of the King. Maybe in our terms we might say here in America, we're celebrating the birth of the perfect president, or the perfect prime minister, or whatever the situation may be, whatever title, whatever office we want to put to it. But we celebrate the birth, which is the fulfillment, part of the completion of promises made to us and made to the nation of Israel about this anointed and appointed figure for leadership. And we celebrate that. And when you get to experience Jesus Christ for yourself supernaturally, and you allow Him to transform your life, Christmas becomes all the more significant. These times that we live in become all the more significant because, I have my hopes in certain things, but I know by experience of the supernatural that the way this world is running right now through flawed mankind is not going to last forever. How do I know that? One, my personal experience. But two, you go to things that our Creator foretold us in Jesus Christ, such as in Matthew chapter 24 and Luke 21. He said there was going to come a time when multiple signs were going to be on the world stage at one time, and these were the beginning of what He said were birth pains or contractions. So we talk about He said there will be earthquakes in various places. He said there will be nation against nation, or in what we might say is ethnicity against ethnicity. He said there will be kingdom against kingdom. So a nation, a legit nation, what we understand today, against another nation. Then He said there will be times as the days of Lot. And this is in Luke either chapter 17 or chapter 21. And in the days of Lot, our Creator came down with two of his angels, and he sent his two angels rather to a city called Sodom, which is where we get the word sodomy from. And these two angels, they were treated very forcefully, and they were treated very roughly. And the men of the city wanted to violate these two angels, these two messengers of our Creator, and they were judged for that because they were being forceful upon these two divine beings, these two angels, these two supernatural, extra dimensional, whatever term you want to use, beings that were here on this planet. And so our Creator, having created mankind with a specific purpose and a specific way to operate, in a sense, to reproduce and to take care of one another and to take care of our children, he says, this is not how I created them. And you can find that in the book of Genesis, probably about chapter 16 or so, somewhere in that ballpark. And so Jesus taught us and teaches us that in the days before his return, that it's going to be just like that. It's going to be just like the days of Lot. And go back and read about that. And what kind of society, what does our society say is significant? Who are they fighting for? I'm not against people having their human rights, but they get on us about pushing our beliefs and our lifestyle on people. But right now we are getting it shoved down our throats. And then he also said it's going to be like the days of Noah, where wickedness, according to our Creator's measurement and definition of wickedness, would be rampant. And when you go back and you read about the days of Noah, in the days of Noah, there was whatever we could think of was okay. Whatever we could think of as far as, how about this, what about this relationship, or let me kill one person because I want that woman, or whatever our imagination. Our Creator said that the imagination of mankind was only evil continually. And so Jesus taught us and teaches us that in the days before his return, and really in the days before it gets worse than what it is right now, we would have all these things on the world scene at one time. And so, like I said, you can read that in Matthew chapter 24, and then Luke chapter 17, Luke chapter 21. And so when I see all these things, and in the year 2020, we celebrate Christmas, and we celebrate the birth of the Messiah. Go back and watch my video, Who is Jesus Christ? We celebrate the birth of the anointed or the appointed king who will guide and lead this world in the way it was meant to. That's what we celebrate. And he will establish his kingdom, his administration on this world with those who he has, or who have allowed him to transform their lives and have submitted their lives, their desires, their will, their dreams, their hopes to his guidance, because he has a plan for each and every one of us. He created each and every one of us with a purpose. And so with that, I ask you, what is the significance of Christmas? For presents? Presents don't mean nothing to me if I'm on a deathbed. Presents don't mean anything to me if I'm stuck in the hospital. Presents don't mean anything to me if I'm depressed and alone. Presents don't mean anything to me if I'm homeless and having mental illness. But, for us as Christians and as a church, Christ would mean everything if somebody could pray for me and I was healed in Jesus' name. if somebody would spend time with me while I'm depressed and pray with me, and my spirits are lifted, my perception, my perspective is changed about life. I've watched these things. I've seen these things happen as people have been prayed for in Jesus' name. And one moment they were raging mad and ready to do whatever they could to release that anger. And then in the next couple of moments, they have peace. I've watched where God has worked through people to help the homeless. And thankfully, those homeless were working with the people that were working with them. And was bringing them out of that place of living on train tracks and living behind stores. I've watched these things with my own eyes. I've seen things that if I was to repeat them, you guys would think I was absolutely crazy and needed to go see a shrink or a psychologist or a psychiatrist and needed to be put on medications for hallucinations and all types of things. You guys would put me in a straitjacket and call me crazy. I've seen tons of things, but I can tell you the one thing I know is real is that at one point I was just like everybody else. At one point I made excuses because my life was just the same as everybody else, and I'm still better than nobody. I still ask Jesus every single day to help me because I see my flaws so clearly at times, especially things I deal with day to day. But I also know what it is to be taken from a broken home, a broken situation, a situation where, for one reason or another, maybe your dad wasn't around as you want them to be, and you don't know how to be a husband, you don't know how to be the ideal dad, or you don't know how to, there's just all these different things. You feel the system is against you. But I know by experience that one day all these issues, all this COVID, all this political stuff is going to be gone. Why? Because the birth of the King, of Jesus Christ, of the Messiah, it came to pass. And he has transformed my life and continues to transform my life. And why does my life need to be transformed? Because he has a kingdom. He's going to establish his administration, his kingdom on this earth. And it's going to be an upright kingdom. It's going to be a perfect kingdom. It's going to be a kingdom where nobody can look and say, this is wrong or this is unfair. Because all he's going to do is show us where our intentions are wrong and where our intentions, our hearts and our desires are unfair. That's why I need to be transformed. And all these things that are happening, COVID-19 and whatever is coming in 2021, or perhaps something that comes before the end of 2020, all these things our Creator foretold, or what we call prophecy. All these things were foretold. And there's so much more going on than you may even care to believe or even care to listen to. But Christmas for me in 2020 reminds me that the way this world is ran, or what we might say in biblical terms, this world is not my home. The way this world is ran, the values, what this world says is okay, it's the way it wants to run now, because our Creator placed this world into the hands of mankind and of its supernatural influences. But there's going to come a time where he establishes his rule, his administration over this world. And it's going to be a time where there is eventually no more sickness, COVID-19, anything else that comes. There's not going to be a nefarious or evil or deceptive politicians. There's not going to be any wrongdoing from its leaders, but its leaders are going to have the people's best interest in mind as a whole. because the people are going to know that the politicians or the leaders really care. So I ask you, what does Christmas mean to you? A man in a red suit with a big beard, ho ho ho, put coal in your stocking if you've been naughty, or give you presents if you've been nice? Or are you waiting for the king? Consider that, because that question has such great ramifications from this day on forward. So God bless you guys this holiday season. Just wanted to leave some thoughts. May the Lord keep you, and Lord willing, see you in the next video. God bless you guys in Jesus' name.